Shri Krishna Parabrahmane Namaha. Shri Sadguru Paramatmane Namaha. Sarva Maharshibhyo Namaha. The Lord explains the threefold aspects of Buddhi and Dhriti. 29th Shloka. Buddher Bedam Druteshchaiva Gunatastrividham Shrunu Prochyamanamasheshena Prutatvena Dhananjaya. Substance. Hear you, O Arjuna, the threefold division of intellect, buddhi, and firmness, dhruti, according to qualities. I will declare it to you fully and distinctly. The Sattvic Buddhi is first explained. 30th Sloka. Pravrittim cha nivrittim cha karya karye bhaya bhaye bandham moksham chaya vetti buddhi sa partha sattviki. Substance. O Arjuna, that intellect which knows what is righteous action or karma marga and the cessation of unrighteous action or Sanyasa marga, what ought to be done and what ought not to be done, fear and fearlessness, bondage and liberation is sattvic. Commentary. The sattvic intellect discriminates between what is good and what is bad, adopts that which is good and gives up which is evil. So also it discriminates between bondage and liberation, gives up the former and follows the path of moksha. It gives up the world which causes fear, takes to the path of Brahman and attains fearlessness and joy. The sattvic intellect is the highest instrument for self realization. Everyone should examine himself and find out whether his intellect is pure in the eyes of God. Intellect by itself, however short and powerful it may be in worldly matters, does not help men to reach the highest goal. Question. What is the nature of the sattvic intellect? Answer. It is capable of discriminating between dharma and adharma, between what ought to be done and what ought not to be done, between fear and fearlessness, and between bondage and liberation. The Rajasic intellect is explained. 31st Shloka. Yaya dharmam adharmam cha karyam cha karyameva cha yayata vat pradhanati buddhi sa partharajasi. Substance. O Arjuna, that intellect by which one understands erroneously what is good and evil, what ought to be done and what ought not to be done is Rajasic. Commentary. The Shastras and the elders have prescribed the laws of righteousness and action. The purified mind knows their value and adopts them as the rule of conduct in life. But the Rajasic intellect, clouded by passion, gets a wrong view of life and man is drawn away from the true goal of life, Brahmagnana. The seekers should carefully test their understanding and follow the approved laws of the Shastras in their life. Question. What is the nature of the Rajasic intellect? Answer. The Rajasic intellect, darkened by passion, wrongly understands dharma and adharma and what ought to be done and what ought not to be done. The Tamasic intellect is explained. 32nd Shloka. Adharmam dharmamiti ya manyate tamasavruta sarvartan viparitanscha buddhi sa partha tamasi. Substance. O Arjuna, that intellect enveloped in darkness, which thinks adharma as dharma and all things perverted is tamasic. Commentary. All things appear topsy-turvy to the man of tamasic intellect, like the reflection which appears upside down, and like the reflection in a feeble mirror which appears distorted. The whole world gives a wrong picture to the tamasic intellect. The open path of dharma is closed for him, and he treats the path of adharma, thinking it to be dharma. Neither the teaching of the elders nor the injunctions of the Shastras are acceptable to them. They follow their own way and destroy themselves. What is the cause for such self destruction? Their reason is clouded by ignorance and darkened by passion. To the drunkard, the world appears to reel and whirl about, and so also to the deluded man, the whole world appears in a perverted light. For example, in the unreal, world and body appear real to them, and the supreme reality, Atma, is non existent to them. The pleasures of the body appear enjoyable to them, and the bliss of Atma is no relish for them. They find beauty in the bit of human flesh, whereas they have no thought of the eternal beauty of Satchidananda, Satyam Shivam Sundaram. They see dharma as adharma and adharma as dharma. This is due to the delusion caused by ignorance. Therefore, such dark intellect is the worst form of bondage. Worldly knowledge, power, and position are utterly useless to clear the clouds of ignorance. One should acquire purity of mind, which sees the truth as it is, and attain liberation. Question: what is the nature of tamasic intellect? Answer: it is enveloped by ignorance and therefore interprets everything in a wrong way. The threefold dhriti, firmness, is explained. First, the sattvic. 33rd sloka. Dhrutya yaya dharayate manah pranendriya kriyaha yogena vyabhicharinya dhrutihi sa partha satviki. Substance. O Arjuna, that unswerving firmness which by yoga holds the functions of the mind, prana, and bodily organs is called sattvic, pure. Commentary. Firm courage is exhibited by men in various directions in the world. Some fight harmless, some roam about freely in dark and dangerous forests, some climb mountain peaks, some reach the moon in rockets, and so on. We are able to see and understand this style of courage and firmness. But here the firm holding of the internal forces is explained. The mind, the vital forces, the external and internal instruments of the body should be held, controlled by unswerving yogic concentration. This is Sattvic Dhruti. The yogi is determined to conquer the whole of the inner universe and keep it under his control. He draws the mind back from the innumerable temptations of the sense enjoyment. He frees himself from the tremendous delusion of the objective universe. This is sattvic courage and firmness. Besides, worldly courage, which helps man to overcome external difficulties and dangers, one should cultivate firmness of yoga in the conquest of the internal forces. This courage should be unswerving, firm, and immovable. Therefore, it is described as avyabhicharinya. We see that the courage of renunciation is strong sometimes and weak at the other times. It stays for some period, and when its hold is loosened, the seeker once again reverts to the old and enslaved way of life. Such sporadic fits of courage or firmness are not of much use in the spiritual path. So it is declared by the Lord that the sattvic dhriti is unswerving, firm, immovable under all circumstances. Question: what is the nature of sattvic dhriti? Answer: that courage by which man conquers all the internal forces and establishes himself firmly in the self is called sattvic dhriti.